You will recall in the beginning of the last hour, I went off on a rant about how Scott Walker has run his state, Wisconsin, into the ditch. He inherited a $1 billion surplus. He's now looking at a $2 billion deficit because of his tax breaks for rich people and for big corporations. And now he's looking to cut hundreds of millions of dollars out of the state university system to pay for his tax breaks for rich people and big corporations. But now Alice Ollstein posted, just went up over at the Center for American Progress's blog, Think Progress. It gets even weirder than that. I mean, this is Republican politics at its very worst. And the fact that every American doesn't know this story this is American media at its very worst as well. The Walker set up this thing called the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation back in 2011. And the goal of this thing was to take taxpayer dollars, to take money that Wisconsin citizens, voters, taxpayers had paid to the state in income taxes and other kinds of taxes, to take that money and give it to private corporations. Now, the theory was if you give money to private corporations, state money to private corporations, they will create jobs. Now, for some reason in Wisconsin, Scott Walker and his Republican buddies think that if you give money to poor people, they don't create jobs, right? They're from drug testing benefits to now, they want to pass this law so that, they super monitor what every single person spends their food stamps or TANF or whatever it may be, their benefits on. So just follow this logic for a minute. They're saying if you give money to the corporations and the rich people, they'll create jobs. But we don't want to give money to poor people. The reality of economics, and this is why Wisconsin's economy is going down the tubes. It's why Kansas's economy is going down the tubes, because Sam Brownback is peddling the same kind of Reaganism nonsense. The core essential message of basic economics, and you can read this in 1776 Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, David Ricardo in 1817. I mean, this is not new. Or Paul Krugman today. The basis of the basic thing that drives economies is demand, is people buying things. In order for people to buy things, in order to have demand, people have to have some money. So if you want to create jobs in Wisconsin, increase your minimum wage and increase your food stamp benefits for really poor people. They will spend more money in the local stores. The local stores will then, have to hire more people to help out. They will be selling more products. If those products are made in Wisconsin, then that's more manufacturing for Wisconsin. If those products are made in China, well, that gets us into a whole rant about our lousy trade policies, which I'm going to get to in just a second. But this is amazing. There was just this audit now of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation of 100 of the grants. In other words, free money given to corporations in Wisconsin by Scott Walker. They failed. The Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. Walker wants to snoop on individual poor people on how they're spending their food stamps benefits. But they never audited the companies that they gave millions of dollars to. Oh, hey, it's a corporation. Hey, just take the money. By the way, our campaign could use a contribution. She goes on to write, she being Alice Ollstein in the Center for American Progress's blog, the group also gave loans and tax credits to companies that did not meet its requirements and did not even attempt to fact-check claims by the companies about the number of jobs they created. Additionally, the agency forgave, wrote off, or deferred more than $4 million in loan payments that the corporations were supposed to pay back to the state. Can you imagine if there was $4 million worth of food stamp fraud out there? I mean, these guys, they would be on high hysteria alert. Not only that, a couple of the corporations in 2014, two corporations that received millions of taxpayer funds from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, Eaton and Plexus, what did they do with that money? They laid off hundreds of Wisconsin workers and sent the jobs to Mexico. This is astonishing.